all incredible beat makers and music producers that influenced us. Like, they still influencing us. They gonna influence for generations to come, man. Decades later, you know? So, all right, so real quick, man, before we wrap it up, man, I wanted to highlight a couple albums you created. West Earl Drive, the EP, in collaboration with MOE, which is amazing. The Bad Seeds, which is a 37-minute beat tape you put out in 2016, which still slaps. And then Blue Meanie, which is a 37-track album that you created from your Twitch streams. Dope soundscapes, interludes, textures. Like, I love that album, man. So what were your inspirations behind these dope projects, and you know, how'd they come together so beautifully, man?
Okay, so like I mentioned before, I guess you really did some research on me and found stuff that I didn't even think people would still be finding it today. But yeah, so the West Earl Drive EP was a collab with a cousin of mine from Jersey, MOE. His name is Mo, so that's what the MOE thing is for. He really wanted to put something out, but he was kind of afraid. He was still a little wet behind the ears, I guess you could say. And I was like, look, man, we can do it together, and we'll Dropbox each other elements back and forth until we come up with something. So I told him, send me like 5 beats and I'll send you like 5 of mine, and then I'll send you just like drums, and then you just send me like synths and stuff like that. And yeah, so we came up with that album together like that. And West Earl Drive is actually the street both of us grew up on up in Jersey. So that's that's what's behind the title of it. And I appreciate you, complimenting that and bringing that up. I did think that was a good little collab we did. Bad Seeds, that to me is that's still one of my favorite records that I put out. It's different, man. Like, there's so many things going on in that. It was just like it was a beat gumbo. None of that shit matches each other, but I just broke it up with skits up in between it. And yeah, I don't know. I remember getting sick for like 2 weeks, and I was staying at my girlfriend's house at the time, just being a big baby, expecting her to kind of take care of me and whatnot. And during that time, since I wasn't at work, I was like, fuck it. I got my MacBook here. I'm just gonna take a bunch of beats that I've got on here and just make a little tape, and that's what came out of it. And yeah, I like it. I still like it. Some people still say it's my best album, my best project, which I think is funny. And yeah, I'm not mad at that. It was dope. Blue Meanie, yeah. So Blue Meanie is my latest album, and that's comprised of 37 tracks that I put together from my Twitch stream collection. So over the pandemic, I was home for 5.5 months collecting unemployment while I was out of work, and I decided, all right, well, where can I perform? Where can I do beat sets? So there wasn't really too much going on with the collective I was with. We did a few little live beat sets, but it wasn't really working out. Like, I don't know. There was always audio issues or whatever. Long story short, I decided I'm just going to stream on my own. So I opened up a Twitch page. I linked up with a few of my producer friends who also stream and picked their brains for ideas and tips, and got everything that I needed together. Got the setup, bought all the stuff I needed, and I just started streaming heavy. Like, I mean, what else was I going to do? I'm sitting here doing pretty much nothing for almost half a year. So, and I had just gotten the MPC. Right before the pandemic, during the shutdown, right before the shutdown, I think maybe 2 weeks prior, I got the MPC 1 in the mail because I had pre-ordered it. So, I mean, what better time than during the quarantine to get to know a new piece of equipment, right? So I used the Twitch stream as a crash course. Like, I'm gonna turn get the cameras rolling, hit start streaming, and then just force myself to learn this thing and make beats on it. And I did that consistently for a year, almost. Sometimes I was streaming like 5 nights a week. Like I lived on there, and I ended up building a little small community, and I was super productive, man, because I would just treat it like if I was sitting in front of an audience. Even if there was 1 or 2 people, watching, I would still act as if I was in front of a whole room full of people. And I just, I would get right to work. And sometimes I would pump out like 3 beats, even if I was just throwing down drums or throwing down, ideas or whatever, loops and whatnot. I was still creating a song every time I streamed. Sometimes, like I said, 2, 3 songs in one stream. And granted, I might stream for 6 hours in a day, maybe, Long story short, over a year's time, I had put 184 beats on that MPC. And I was like, man, what do I do with all of this? So I decided to do something along the lines of like how Bad Seeds was, where I just a medley of all kinds of different things, just all smushed into one giant project. And so I came up with the Gldnmnd concept. And at first it was only going to be just a dozen beats or so, maybe 20. I was like, I'm going to do a big album, and instead of these little 5-song EPs that are only 14, 15 minutes long, let me do something a little longer, My biggest complaint from fans is they're like, man, your music's good, but there's not enough of it out, And I'm like, yeah, you're right. I do hoard a lot of beats, So I just decided to just open the floodgates, man. And before you know it, I was at 30. I actually was at almost 50 tracks, but I had to cut it down because DistroKid now has a limit on how many songs you could put out. So I got cleared for 37, and I was like, all right, let's just leave it there. It's still an hour long, but I love the album. It's one of my favorites to date. It's just a good mashup of just a bunch of different crap that, some of those beats might have taken me 5 minutes to make. Some of them probably took me weeks to make, but I just had fun doing it. I just was like, I had fun making all these beats on stream. I don't even want to stress myself out with all of the technical crap. I went to school for music production and audio engineering. That's what I went to college for. I did my internship in audio engineering, mix engineering. And to me, the most stressful part of making a project is the mixing and mastering. So I was like, you know what? I want to ditch all of that and just get back to the fun part of it, which is just making beats to make your head nod. You know what I mean? Just shit that slaps. I don't want to worry about dynamics and textures and all that. So this album is not even mixed. It's raw, coming right out the MPC, running through the SP404. And all I did was throw it into Logic and throw a compressor and a limiter on the master track. That's it. There's no mixing involved in this album. That's why, I don't know. To me, I listen to it, I'm like, damn, I could have used a little bit more on the low end here or there or whatever. But you know what? I don't give a fuck anymore. That shit was fun, and it's raw, and it's genuine and organic, and just, So to me, that the album means more to me that way than some of the other albums that I have that are really polished, So, but yeah, man, thanks for bringing those up. I see you did your homework, which is cool. That goes a long way. That means you're doing your job as a podcaster. So yeah, I'm currently based out of Orlando, Florida, and to be quite honest, there's not a very large scene here. The beat scene here is rather small, unfortunately. The crazy thing is there is some talent here. There's some good, crazy talent here. It's just the area. The area does not facilitate the scene very well. the city, since the pandemic, has put some weird laws and bylaws into effect that kind of prevent the scene from thriving. One being no live music after 10 p.m. unless it's enclosed. So, you know, that right there just puts a huge, you know, damper on a lot of the venues that have outside bars and outside areas where, you know, we can play and perform and stuff like that. Also, you know, if you know anything about Florida, it rains every day here at night, especially during the spring and the summertime and the fall. You know, all during hurricane season, we're getting nightly rain. So for it to be, you know, for it to thrive, I think that it would just need it would need to be facilitated more by the area. You know, we would need more venues out there who are willing to host events that, you know, that we could take advantage of. And I would say that the scene here caters more towards DJs and like festival type stuff. You know, we have EDC here now and stuff like that. Some of the bigger clubs downtown, you know, they facilitate the DJ scene, the EDM, IDM, electronic dance scene, the beat scene and stuff like that. It's still kind of just lurking in the shadows. Like I said, there's great talent here. I've seen tons of great people play. I've seen amazing shows where I'm just like leave there blown, like mind blown, like wow. And this dude is from here and he's cooking up like a couple blocks away from here. This guy should be famous. This guy should be known. But again, it's just it's not like Atlanta, LA, New York, where the beat scene is kind of still, you know, it still thrives in those areas. For some reason here, it just gets overshadowed by the big room scene. So yeah, it's kind of bittersweet, you know. You get the rawness of it, but you also get a lot of folks that are just like, why am I even bother doing these fucking shows here, you know? Like, it can get tiresome if you're playing for, you know, rooms of 10 people. You know, it's not always going to be a packed house, and, you know, a lot of guys just move on and do other things. So, but I feel like it's still lingering. That flame is still flickering, and you know, I'll do shows here and there. We have a few events that, you know, that still cater to the scene. So, yeah, maybe one day it'll blow up a little bit more. But right now, it's kind of very low key.
You know, real quick, I got to start asking this question to my guests, man. Like, what's one thing you wish you knew before you started your own music creation journey?
This is gonna sound, it might sound crazy, but I wish I didn't go to school for it. I wish that I didn't spend so much money studying this shit in college, because you don't need it. Half of these guys you see on Instagram and Twitter, whatever, Facebook, that have a shit ton of followers who are making their income, their yearly income comes from content creation. Half of them, if not most, have not gone to school for music production or audio engineering or mix engineering or recording arts or anything like that. Any type of music. Some of them just are self-taught. Some of them learned from church bands. You know, their parents played instruments. They had a piano in the house. Like, they went to school for other things. Look at Stolen. Stolen is a video major. He's a videography major. You know? Like, I just wish that I didn't go spend all this money to go to school for this, you know. That's why I came to Florida in the first place, to go to Full Sail, you know, one of the most popular universities in the country for, you know, music making. You know, they're known for their studio, and a lot of people go in there to do, you know, what we do. And honestly, I should have just saved my money, because you can do it without that. Like, go on them fucking YouTube tutorials I mentioned earlier, and you can get just as much education on the shit as I got in school. Like, I just wish that I would have, you know, known to not go and do that prior. Other than, regretting going to college for it, just spending so much money on it. I wish somebody would have told me early on to not expect anything at all from this. Don't get stars in your eyes and immediately think, all right, I watched the Genius documentary and yeah, everybody told him no. I'm not saying that doesn't happen. Okay, it does happen. And you should always think bigger than what you're doing. Think above what you're doing and always strive to, do better, bigger, better, whatever. Obviously, but I wish somebody would have been like, hey man, it's okay if you don't make it and you just make good fucking music. Like, because for a very long time, that's why I got into school, because I was like, all right, if I have a bachelor's in this shit, then they can't deny me a position in the industry. Like, I gotta get a job with that, right? I could just go show up at a studio and be like, hey, I'm certified to be an engineer, so hire me as an engineer. That is not how it works at all. Like, those engineers in there have been doing that shit for like 25 years and they never went to fucking school a day in their lives. They were probably like a roadie for somebody in the 90s and they're just like, yeah, this is just my job by default. But yeah, just it's okay to make music that's not gonna go anywhere. I don't even have 1,000 followers on Instagram, but you know what? People in the beat community know me. Like, some of the important names out there know me. I talk to them regularly in DMs and stuff like that, and like, we follow each other, we like each other's stuff, and we vibe off each other. And I'm okay with that. The beat community is so wholesome. I mean, look at this interview we're doing right now. I'm humbled by this opportunity, the fact that anybody even wants to hear me talk that, about music, that's cool. That's cool to me. And, honestly, I think I'm getting more out of music now than I did when I was like trying to be my best and just, out there trying to like find artists and sell my beats. And, now that I couldn't give two shits about none of that, I don't really deal with rappers no more. I don't really, sell my stuff, release my stuff or anything. Now I'm just making music just to fucking make it, like just to make, it's therapy for me. And I'm like, I'm not making this shit for nobody else but myself again. I'm going back to how I like to do things, because I feel like the deeper I was getting into stuff, you got people in your ear at the studios like, you gotta stay relevant, you gotta make, you know what I mean? I know you don't like making trap beats like that, but these guys are gonna ask you for trap beats. And in other words, saying, listen, you gotta sound like everybody else if you want to make it, so sell out now and then go be yourself afterwards. Well, I wasn't willing to do that. I was like, I don't really give a shit if I ever get placement with that person, because fuck them, I'm gonna do what I want to do, and that's that. I make this shit for me, and if other people like it, cool. And I know you guys have heard that from a ton of producers and beat makers. A lot of us feel the same damn way. We don't want to sound like anybody else, and a lot of us really couldn't give a shit if you like our stuff or not. If we like it, at the end of the day, we're essentially making it for us. And then if someone else happens to like it, that's a fucking blessing. That's awesome. That's low-key another reason why we keep doing shit, essentially, yeah, you're doing it for yourself, for your own content. But then if somebody else likes it, it's like, man, that's such a nice bonus. It's confirmation is what it is. And it's like, yeah, I knew this shit was dope, but now I know for sure. Now it's certified, because, other people are hearing it and they're like, yo, that shit's crazy. Where you find that sample? Where'd you get them drums? How'd you, what is that percussion? Like that's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about, bro. I appreciate that perspective that you put on that just now, man. Like, making music for yourself. Yeah, you can make, income and stuff like that, but the first part of anything is just being yourself. Yeah, right? So Yeah, man. Yo, it's an honor for me to have you on the show, talk about music. And I'm a geek, man. I'm a nerd. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not even in the streets, and, you know, I've never been that way, but I love music. I love music. I've loved music ever since I've been exposed to it as a kid. Then once I, found hip-hop and everything like that, man. So I appreciate your perspectives, man. So, okay. Final thoughts, man. What should the internets look out for from Bundo in 2022? And then how can the internets tap into you, your music? I just go ahead, plug your socials, projects, and any final thoughts.
Well, we got about 4 months left, and if I'm being honest, I would love to tell you that I'm dropping another project before the end of the year, but I'm not even going to cap on you. That's probably not going to happen. What I plan to do now is I've been thinking about just doing like little beat dumps, just mash up a bunch of beats together onto little SoundCloud mixes, just to kind of get stuff off of the MPC and the SP and out onto the internet. It won't be stuff that I'll upload to streaming, but I feel like a lot of these little B-sides and little cuts that are just it could just be 8-bar loops that I'm copy and pasting, whatever. I just want to do something with all of this stuff because I'm tired of hoarding beats, I have an obnoxious amount of sessions and beats over the years that have never seen the light of day, have never been heard. I mean, we're talking hundreds and hundreds. I can't even tell you how many, but think about it. From 2007 till now, and I only have 69 songs out on the streaming services. Like, there's a ton of shit on hard drives. I want to just start dumping these, so I think I'm going to start putting little mixes up on SoundCloud that are just little beat dumps. And then I think I'm going to do a remix project. I've been dabbling with the remixes lately. In the past month or two, I've done a Captain Murphy remix. I've done a Doom remix. I did a Death Grips flip. I did the God Fahim flip. I think I got a Quelly Chris. Oh, I'm sorry, Makami. I got a Makami flip I did. I got a lot of new remixes that I'm really proud of, and I think I'm going to throw a little Bandcamp tape out there with them. Unfortunately, I just don't think that it's going to be out before the end of the year. I mean, we're already in September, basically. But things to look out for. I got Blue Meanie merch dropping soon. There's going to be some acid blotter sheets. They don't contain LSD. They're going to come completely blank. I am selling them as art pieces. You're going to have the option to purchase them plain or with a frame. And what you do with these acid blotter sheets after you purchase them is on you. But my intent is to sell them as art, so you can hang them in your studio, put them. It's going to be the album cover, so it's a dope piece of art. If you haven't seen it, when you go online and look me up and shit, you'll see. And shout outs to my boy G. Follow him on Instagram. It's g.uh. His artwork is insane. He's got a clothing line coming out with all the designs and stuff like that, but he made me that artwork. I commissioned him for it, and it's just so good. I'm like, this has to be on merch. This has to be on stuff that I can sell and whatever. So we got shirts coming, a couple different designs, the acid blotter sheets with the album cover on it. I actually may do a few sheets, like just some extra stuff with old album covers on it. And then we may do cassette tapes. That's gonna be something to look out for in the next couple months. Social media, you can pretty much find me under the same name on all social media. I don't have many. I got Twitter and Instagram is about it for me. I don't do any of the other socials. It's _Bundo _. And on Twitch, I'm at Bundo. I'm back to streaming again, so I'd love to see y'all come through. If not, it's whatever. I hope to continue to provide you guys with content that will keep you entertained. Final thoughts. Yeah, man, I appreciate you reaching out to me. Very humbled by that. I've done a handful of interviews. I'm kind of elusive, not gonna lie. I'm known for being a little bit difficult to work with. I have a list of people who are trying to, work on projects with me and stuff. Like, it's a little hard for me to come out my shell, but I'm always, willing to do what I can to move the culture forward, man. I am part, whether I like it or not, I'm part of this beat scene, and I'm super happy. I'm stoked on that, to be part of it. I'm glad that anybody even knows who I am at all. So, having people reach out to me to do podcasts and interviews and stuff like that, like, hell yeah. I'm always gonna say yeah, because that's, I don't know. I just think that's dope. But yeah, man. That's pretty much it. Stay hydrated and drive safe.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Bundo, I appreciate you for tapping in on the Rex Show podcast, man. Yeah, man. Y'all check out everything Bundo. Check out his Bandcamp. Stream him on the DSPs. And he's his music is provocative, thought-provoking, funny. Head knockers. Like, you can't like put your finger on just one thing that he is, man. So that's why that's what I'm gonna start doing, man. I'm gonna start grabbing people that's, different. They got their own color, man. And I feel like Bundo definitely has his own color. So I appreciate you, bruh. And yeah, man, this ain't gonna be the last time we interact. So everybody listening, man, if you made it to this point, I appreciate you for checking out the Rex Show podcast. So go ahead and subscribe, support. If you want to support the podcast, there's a link to support the podcast below, or you become a member of my Bandcamp subscriber list. And yeah, man, we just gonna keep going and keep growing. I'm gonna keep doing this, man, just because I love music and I love beat makers and I like to hear y'all's stories. So yeah, man. But I hope everybody's having a good weekend. Yeah, man, it's going to be a dope week. Look forward to a dope week. Expect the dope things to happen, and they will. All right, keep your mindset clean, and I'll see y'all next week on another episode of The Rex Show. All right, peace and love, yo. Pow, 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 pow.
Is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard. Everyone in this room is now dumber for having listened to it. May God have mercy on your soul. On your soul.
Okay.
These lights represent every living person on the planet. The white lights are humans. These are the mutants.
They
can't tell like younger kids or other producers like that's cheating. You can't really accept it, but bro, like when it comes to this producing shit, you can do whatever you want.
You've been listening to the Rec Show podcast. Be sure to subscribe, like, and leave a comment. Remember 3 things. Believe in your music. Take care of your mentals. Become the best version of yourself. Until the next one, Gldnmnd signing off. Peace and love, yo.
To be the best, you got to work overtime. To be the best, you got to work overtime.
These young boys getting better. This is not like the NBA where you can retire. Like this is, you have to keep going.